Hi there. So just a walk in the park on a Monday night, I was thinking about what would I do if I was president. Now, it'll never happen. I don't think I'll ever become president because I'm not going to go to law school, and I don't think I'm clownish enough to get into politics. Although I don't know, maybe one day it'll change. Probably not. But if I was to get into politics and if I ran for president, or even in Senate, here's some of the laws I would pass. So, major problems I notice with our ecosystem, our economies here, and at least where I live here in Las Vegas, is the first big problem I notice is real estate. I would say single-handedly one of the biggest problems. The way I look at real estate is it's basically rich people profiting off of poor people, because what rich people will do, I watched this little YouTube short today. There's this guy who is like so much money in debt or whatever. He owns 15 houses, and he rents all 15 of the houses. Now, if you own 15 homes and you're one man, it's so unethical. I don't even understand it. It's so unethical. I don't even know what word to use to describe it. I just think it's disgusting, because people rent because they don't have money. People rent because they're poor. People rent because housing prices are at an all-time high. My freaking hair is a mess. People don't rent because they're rich or because they have a crap ton of money and they just want to go rent somewhere. That's what Airbnbs are for. People rent homes out because they can't buy a home. Because trust me, all of us that are renting, I don't rent, thank God, yet. Hopefully I don't have to. Anyone who's renting a home is renting that house because they don't have money to buy a house. Nobody rents by choice. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, rich people profiting off of poor people, here's my next thing. So if I was in any kind of office, Senate, whatever, I would pass a couple laws in terms of real estate. The first law I'd pass is only a certain number of homes per city can get rented out. Now, we're talking about a house, not an apartment or a condo building. We're talking a townhome or a single family home. Condos and apartments, I wouldn't really say count, because condos are usually really small, and so are apartments. Usually that's only for, those are temporary living situations, couple years, 5-10 years. People will live in those. But homes and townhomes, the only difference between a home and a townhome is townhomes are usually a lot closer together. They have a higher HOA, and they're attached units, meaning there's 3 or 4 units that are attached to each other that people live in. Now, townhomes are usually 2 to 4 bedrooms, usually a 1 to 2 car garage. A single family home can be anywhere from 2 bedrooms, a bedroom. Usually they're 2 bedrooms to like freaking 8 or 9 or 10. Usually anything beyond that is a multi-family home, although not always. So a multi-family home is basically a home with 2 separate living units so you buy a multi-family home and you can house your family and another family in them. That's basically what a multi-family home is. Now, I would put a law on townhomes and single-family and multi-family residences or properties that prohibits you from renting out a certain number of them per city. So let's say for the city of Las Vegas, the limit is, 5,000. I don't really know how many homes we have here in Las Vegas to put like a percentage or a number to that. But so say only 5,000 homes can get rented out at a time in Las Vegas, in the city of Las Vegas. Say in the city of Henderson, only about 1,500 homes are able to get rented out. And in North Las Vegas, maybe 1,000 to 1,500. I know North Las Vegas is a very small town. It's expanding, but it ain't really that large. So those are like the 3 main cities. Boulder City is its own thing. I'm not too familiar with Boulder City, but and their population. But I know here in Henderson, Las Vegas, and North Las Vegas, there would be a limit on the amount of homes you can rent out. or that can be rented to people. Now we're saying homes. Condos and apartments, as many as possible. Actually, I think condos and townhomes should be all that's rented to people. I don't think anybody should own a condo or an apartment. Condos and apartments, that's what I meant. I think I said something else. Condos and apartments should be the only two forms of living that are rented back to people. But then townhomes and single family or multifamily homes should mostly only be owned. Like I said, so 5,000 homes, townhomes, and single family, multifamily, and townhomes, maybe 5,000 of them can be rented at a single time in the city of Las Vegas. That's one law I'd put into place. Now, I don't know, I haven't thought too much of it, but I've grazed the thought in my head. Another law I'd put into place is how many homes one person can own, or how many homes one person can rent out. Okay, you can own as many homes as you want. I don't really think you should put I feel like you're taking away a constitutional right at that point to people owning homes for their, like people like Donald Trump, who own probably 30 of his own homes, probably all around the country. He's a billionaire, he can. But the thing is he going and renting a bunch of homes out in one city. Now, I think that what you should be able to do is, if you do want to get into real estate, say you can only own maybe 2 homes in a city, or 2 homes in a county, or something like that. Or you can only rent out 2 homes in a county. I don't want to stop people being able to rent out real estate. I just want to stop one man from going and buying 30 homes and renting them all out to people and starting a company out of it. Because that's what I call rich people benefiting from poor people. I don't agree with that at all. That's how I look at it. I don't know if other people look at it that way. I definitely don't think millionaires and billionaires look at it that way, but that's how I look at it. Okay? So that's the second thing, is one man can only own and rent it. One man can own as many homes as he wants, but how many of those homes can he rent out is what matters. Now, if you privately rent it, I guess there's nothing you can really do about that, because that would mean that the tenant is also in agreement with the rent and the rent prices and everything. So if you're privately renting out a home, I know if you want to rent out a home, I'm sure there's some kind of paperwork you have to fill out. But if you're privately renting out a home to like a family member or a friend, if they think it's a decent price, then whatever. But maybe there's going to be like some kind of board for renting properties. I don't know, some kind of like board for that. And you can call that board if somebody is renting out a home, more than a certain amount of homes or something like that. I don't know how it would go. But if you want to own a couple homes in one city, hey, whatever. You like Summerlin, you like Las Vegas, you like Henderson. If you have $1 billion in your bank account, you can buy homes in all those cities. But it's if you're going to go rent them out and go profit off of people is where it becomes a problem. So that's that out of the way. Now that I don't know how well I feel about it, because quite honestly, I'm not a fan of that ideology, but I am a fan of the first one, which was the 5,000 homes per city. The reason that this is important is because the reason that homes are so high in price right now. Now, if you look at a home, there's 2 ways of looking at a house. You can look at a home as the final goal in life, a place you can sleep at night, a place you can house your family, a place you can do maybe you have a remote job, a place you can store your cars. You can look at a home like that. And if you look at a home with that mindset, that home has really high value, and it makes that $500,000 price tag almost worth it. But if you look at a home like this, it's a bunch of Mexicans that built it. Half of them, and especially in the residential field, I am in construction. I do know about this. Half of them are probably undocumented, so the labor for them is super cheap, especially in the residential division, because there's no unions over there in residential, or hardly any. So, there's that. It's basically, it's sand, it's paper, and it's wood. That's it. It's sheetrock, it's stucco, it's some glass for the windows, it's some Romex wire for the wiring, and it's some plastic piping for your PEX water supply lines. That's all a home is. Okay? There's no reason a home that is 25 years old should be worth $500,000. Homes should kind of be like cars. Maybe, well, no, actually, no. Okay, I'm kind of just thinking of this off the top of my head. I'm not actually I haven't really thought about this. Homes should be worth relatively what they're worth, not more than what they're worth. Okay, a home should not be worth $400,000 when that home is 40 years old. Maybe it's going to be worth more than it was when it was new 40 years ago, but it definitely should not be that disproportionate that it's worth $400,000 now. Because if you think about it, now it's 40-year-old dust, sand, brick, or wood, or copper. Back then they used copper. So that's what I look at a home as, is it's just a bunch of materials put together by usually a lot of unlicensed workers. That's all a home is to me. All right? So there's no reason that a home should be worth $500,000. Now we got that out of the way. Why are the homes $500,000? Here in Las Vegas, although the problem spans way more than just Las Vegas, the problem spans with 2, maybe 3 main reasons. The first reason, which is personal to Las Vegas, although I don't think is a big deal, we have a lot of Californians moving here because they hate their politics where they're from. Actually, that's kind of why Nevada became a Republican state this time around and not a Democrat state, at least in the presidential side. The whole Senate and House thing was all fricked up, and guarantee you something fishy went on there, but that's hearsay. That's neither here nor there. So Californians moving into Las Vegas overpopulates the area, which then the demand or the supply of homes is going down while the demand goes up. That's the first reason. The second reason is because like I mentioned the first time, is they're all being rented. All the homes here are being rented. So people buy the homes and they rent them back to people. People buy 40, 50 homes and they rent them back to people. Companies buy maybe even more than that. Maybe some companies get together, a bunch of millionaires or billionaires, and they buy like 200, 300 properties. Like, that's an entire neighborhood. That's an entire neighborhood that some one company bought to rent back to people. Can you imagine how many companies are doing that? Probably a lot. Okay? The third reason that the real estate is so high is because of inflation. Now, what is inflation caused by? Well, I beg to differ on what other people say, but what I say is because Joe Biden printed a whole bunch of money in the beginning of his term to cover the stimulus checks. Okay? Y'all received them stimulus checks back in 2020 and 2020. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going a little bit too far now because I'm going to have to make a nice long walk back to my car when I'm done with this. Joe Biden printed all that money. Donald Trump printed all that money back in 2020. Or not printed. I misspoke. I'm sorry. They handed you guys some stimulus checks. Some being more than your paychecks at your job. And they gave it to everybody. Now, do you not think that they're going to want to get that money back somehow? Do you not think that they were in a freaking nice deficit after that? You better bet. So what did the Democratic Party do? Well, in anybody's quick thinking mind, you're going to say, well, just print more money to cover it. But you don't really look at the consequences of doing that. I guarantee you they did, and they didn't think the consequences were as dire as they actually were. Two things go into this. So when you stop oil production within the country, what happens is oil is like if you're looking at a pyramid, oil sits right at the top. Oil trickles down on everything else, because how do you get goods into your grocery stores? They have to be trucked there. How do you get them trucked there? Well, you got to put gas or diesel in the trucks. If gas or diesel is twice as expensive as it used to be, whether that's Joe Biden's fault or Kamala Harris's fault or whatever, I don't care. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about why things are expensive. What the heck is that? If gas is twice as expensive as it used to be, well, that is going to trickle down on the price of goods. Now that then relates into people who maybe want to sell their homes. They're like, I want more money for my house. So that's why the prices of homes trickles up when oil goes up with it. Oil relates into everything else being high. Okay? Now, if oil was cheaper, whether that's the gas companies, whether that's taxes, whether that's drill, baby, drill, it doesn't matter. The point is, the cost of the gas is high, therefore the cost of goods is going to be high with it. So when the goods go up, like your groceries and whatever, Walmart as an example, they're going to have to make their money back. They're going to have to now start charging more for their prices on their goods. And then when you get the Democratic Party who wants to go putting in, let's raise the minimum wage. Well, by the way, when you raise the minimum wage, companies are going to now charge more for their goods for that. Therefore, when they charge more for bread, eggs, whatever, because they got to pay their employees more money, that drives everything else up. Because once that goes up, also, by the way, utilities like water and stuff go up with it. I'm not really sure how water is affected, but I can tell you how electricity is affected. Electricity is from oil. How do we get our power? Oil. That is exactly how we get our power. Natural gas is oil reserves. It's a different kind of oil, but it's the same kind of oil. It's a different process. I'm not really sure how. I'm not going to get into that. I'd have to research that, but I'm going over what I know and what I think, okay? So when you print more money and when you cut off internal oil supply or limit it or restrict it, and you only purchase oil from other countries, then you get something called a domino effect. It now trickles down to everything else, like your food, your water, your gas, your other gas. Freaking phone companies and stuff are charging more because now they got to pay their workers more because the value of $1 is less because the workers can't afford anything. So they demand raises and they go on strike. Now they got to charge more for their services. So this all trickles down. So when you have three main things that go into why the cost of living is so high, you have printed money, you have restricted oil reserves within the country, and you have minimum wage demands. When you have those three things go into it, which we have had in the past 4 years, have you not heard about all the workers going on strike the past 4 years? When you have all that going on, the price of everything shoots way up. Now, when the price of stuff shoots up, now people expect more money for stuff like real estate, which is why now that starts trickling up. Because people are like, wow, it's so much money. Interest rates are so high or whatever. People are going to start charging out the butt for homes. Or they're going to start charging out the butt when they rent them out, when they sell them, and whatnot. That's why the price of real estate is so high. Because everything else is high because it comes from three main factors. Oil, printing money, and minimum wage demands. So how should we take care of those things as a country? I would say the biggest thing for inflation is to pay off our debts, our national debt. How do you pay off the national debt? Well, you increase taxes. You have to increase taxes because you have to be able to support the infrastructure of each community. Okay, but you also have to be able to pay off those taxes or off that debt. So as a country, we should get together and pay off that debt to restore the value of $1. Okay, It's $36 trillion. It's right under 36 trillion. It was 35.9 today. If Americans got together, put their dollars forward for the greater of this country, and paid off that debt, maybe over the next 20 or 30 years, and we stuck to it, we had an administration that actually stuck to paying off that debt, the inflation would be gone, okay? We would have a perfect dollar value, okay? That I know of it. We would have a perfect, if not semi-perfect dollar value if we had no debt at all. Everything would be dirt cheap. Everything would be running as smooth as a lubricated gear set, a well-oiled engine, and everything would be great. Okay, the second thing, the oil. Did you know that in the state of Texas alone, we have enough oil that we can live off of for the next 200 years? Just in the state of Texas. Can you imagine all the other states that have oil reserves in them? I don't know about the other ones. I do know about Texas, and there's 200 years of oil in Texas. Someone's smoking weed and listening to rap over there. Nice. Of course, it's a Hyundai Tucson. Freaking people with their Hyundai Tucsons, they always smoke weed. I swear, it's always Hyundai Tucsons. Anyway, so that's the second way, is maybe we should be more independent of not only our oil, but our manufacturing, which is coincidentally why Donald Trump wants to put tariffs on foreign goods. Now, it might make stuff more expensive, but realistically, things will be expensive either way, because if you have to pay for American labor to make the stuff here, you're going to have to pay more anyway, because American labor ain't cheap. But think about it this way, we are now independent. So that little bit of price increase compared to what it could or should be is actually worth it. Because now I know that my product is being made in America on American soil. Now, maybe it's not made of the best quality, but it's made in America. I'm not giving my money to China or to Mexico. I'm giving my money to America and paying a couple bucks more in relation to what it could be if we were just getting it from China with no tariffs is good, because the more money we're giving to China, the more they're developing their military, the harder they're gonna fight when a war happens. We don't want that. We don't want China to have money, because if China has money, then they could take everyone out. China can just take over the entire world, and they're smart people in China. Okay? China can now take over the world. Maybe not in terms of taking away our rights and freedoms. Maybe they will, I don't know. But in terms of who has the best economy, China will take that over. All right? China will take that over. So if we are independent with our manufacturing, we're giving China less of a strong arm against the entire world. And if we were to expedite that process of manufacturing in the US, which there seems to be so many people without jobs, if we were to have our call centers in the US, if we were to have our manufacturing in the US, and everything was done in the US, yeah, things would cost more until we get rid of our internal debt. If we got rid of our internal debt, it wouldn't really cost much more at all. Actually, it would be cheaper that way, because the value of a dollar will be worth more. Therefore, prices of stuff will be cheaper. It's kind of a weird mind trick you got to wrap yourself around. So, that's the second thing, is oil and production. And the third thing was labor, okay? Price of labor and minimum wage will never go down. It'll always go up. So everything's going to have to match where labor is at, okay? So things might come down a little bit, but don't expect things to be super duper cheap, okay? What'll happen is you'll notice you'll be able to live a lot more comfortable. So better, more reliable jobs, maybe a little bit better income, stuff like that. But I feel personally the best way to have a livable income as a country, there's only so much money in this country, and I guarantee you 75% of it is in rich people's pockets. Maybe some kind of number like that. I mean, that's 75%, but maybe at least 60 or 50 or 40 of that is in the millionaires' pockets, okay? Who don't need it. What are you doing with $9 billion, okay? What are you doing with that? Walmart, the Waltons, what are you doing with 9, 10, 20 billion dollars? All right? Nothing. Who needs that kind of money? All right? So with that being said, my thing is I feel like companies should only be able to make so much until they're taxed, which also helps out with the national debt clock. Guarantee you companies like Walmart or Target or whatever will be able to pay their work. Now, they're not going to want to pay a tax. Why would they just pee away 85%? If they make more than a certain amount of money per year, like Walmart makes more than like 9 or 10 billion dollars as a company, they make more than that, they're going to get like an 80-90% tax on it. Meaning, what's Walmart going to realistically do? Well, they're going to just pay their employees more and make less money as a company. Therefore, if there's both two ways it could go, people get put into higher tax brackets, therefore helping pay off that debt clock a little faster, or the companies have to pay a 90% tax on whatever they make, and that money goes right back into the federal government, therefore helping to pay off that national debt clock, along with paying off or paying for military, paying for stuff like that, these important things that the country needs. Also infrastructure and communities, upgrades and like roads and stuff and bridges and stuff like that. So all in all, if I was the president, those are the main things I would do. Those are the main reasons that I believe are causing inflation, high housing prices, struggling families. There is way too much money in the billionaires and the rich people's pockets that there should be ways that the regular average Joe should easily be able to purchase a home, easily be able to get a job with a good salary, and live the American dream. Everybody should be able to live the American dream, and I feel like that's how it could happen. So I hope you liked this. I hope you heard it out. I hope the wind wasn't too bad. Probably going to post this somewhere, I don't know where, but hopefully y'all liked it. Anyway, see ya.